Your attention, please, for the world-renowned artistes of the trapeze, the Pincus twins, Lola and Bella.
Lola. I tell you, you went off too bloody soon. You hit your blinking head off. You did. Admit it, Lola, you swung too far. Been at the bottle again, haven't you? Why, you stinking A-bag. I signed the pledge and, well, you know it. I conquered my weakness. What's that supposed to mean? Well, I wasn't walking out with soldier boys last night, was I? And by the time you got in, it's obvious. You weren't walking either. You foul-mouthed mutt. I shouldn't take that from anyone.
Ladies, in heaven's name, desist.
Eh?
I am much perturbed.
What?
You can't know how the sight of such talent exposed to danger affects me.
Exposed to danger?
Yes. Look.
What the hell are those?
Those, my dear, are the lengths of rope cut from a trapeze. I found them among the props.
Someone shortened one of our trapezes.
Your accident was planned in cold blood. You are fortunate to be alive.
What do you think, Sarge?
7 music hall accidents in 4 weeks. Uncommon hard to credit.
Seems to have started with the Pincus sisters on the trapeze at the Middlesex. And there was Bellotti, the barrel dancer, at the Metropolitan.
Fell off his barrel, broke his arm, and set light to his hair on the footlights.
Oh, that'll be the Macassar.
Macassar?
Air oil. Oh, these foreigners plaster it on. Very inflammable.
The reason he fell, Thackeray, was that some blighter plastered his barrel with axle grease.
How about this, then? Sam Fagan, the comic. Seems he always closes his act with the audience joining in a song. The words are written on a large sheet wound round a roller. This time, when he unwound the sheet, he was booed off the stage. Doesn't say why.
The words have been shamefully altered. There were references to a certain gracious personage. The audience was not amused. Who was next?
Professor Virgo, the sword swallower. He pushed a blade down his throat, pulled it up again, started prancing up and down and shouting for water. Oh, blimey. The sword had been smeared with mustard.
Something troubling you, Constable?
Oh, well, surely you're not taking this lot seriously, Sarge.
I have to, because of what happened at the Canterbury.
Haven't got that report.
Girl called Lettuce walks into a box. The door is shut. Audience sees only a head and boots. Drum roll as Woolston, the great magician, plunges swords through holes in the side. Marvellous act.
What happened?
Second sword got stuck.
Why?
Lettuce's leg was in the way. She screamed blue murder. Taken to hospital with, fortunately, just a flesh wound.
I suppose it could have been mechanical failure.
Could have been that the box had been tampered with.
Well, if it was, we're looking for a murderer.
Nobody's been murdered.
But Lettuce could have died, and so could the trapeze artist. What was her name?
Lola. No, that's not the common element, Constable.
Then what is?
Ridicule. All these artists were laughed, jeered, and booed off the stage. It's as if someone wanted to destroy them professionally.
Oh, so we're not looking for a murderer, then?
Not yet.
Why'd you say that?
Well, you said it for me. Lettuce could have died. Who knows? Next time?
Next time?
This was delivered to Stone End Police Station this morning. Grampian Theatre playbill. 3 words ringed in black ink. Sensational, tragedy, tonight.
Glad that's over.
Sometimes they do it again. Blindfold.
And now, directing continue with her ditty. Miss Ellen Blake!
I'm a young girl and have just come over from the country where they do things big. And amongst the boys I've got a lover, and since I've got a lover, why I don't care a fig. Oh, the boy I love is up in the gallery.
Oh, I love is waiting there for me.
Remember, you're here on duty, Constable. At the first sign of an accident, I want you over that ledge and down on that stage.
Ain't she a stunner, Sarge?
Keep yourself in check, man. You're foaming at the mouth.
From that sovereign of strong men, the Hercules of Rotherhithe, the great Albert!
Keep away from Albert, Mrs. You'll flatten him.
Rule Britannia, Britannia, rule the waves. Britain never, never, never shall be slaves. And now, ladies and gentlemen, my son Albert will portray the greatness of Britain and her empire.
That's it, Thackeray. Get the dog.
Bring the curtain down.
To prison. He what steals what isn't his. X, you know, is my division.
Oh, you
Number
poor dear.
9.
You must be in terrible pain. I shall never forgive myself.
Gave us an helmet and a greatcoat.
What's that you've got?
Iodine, the unfailing remedy for a dog bite.
Does that animal have to be here?
Evidence. Pucker investigator never lets evidence out of his sight.
Your handkerchief, if you please, Constable.
Right, Sarge. Policeman in plain clothes. Who would have thought it? I, too, am a detective.
Really?
Chick, Major, 8th Hussars, retired.
Private detective, then?
Damn good one.
What you doing here, Major?
A series of incidents in London music halls led the manager to engage me. He didn't want anything suspicious happening here at the Grampian.
But it has happened, Major.
Definitely an accident. Can't arrest the blasted bulldog, can we?
Well, now, that's an ugly little bite, Albert. It needs cleaning. Any other injuries?
I twisted my ankle as I fell.
You mustn't worry about it, dear. You'll only be out of work for a week or two.
Never work again, Ellen. A strong man frightened of a little dog. A blessed laughing stock.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, would you, Sarge?
Poor darling. I found him locked up in that horrid quick change room. Didn't I, Beaconsfield?
Good. The real dog's been found.
Substitution, by Jove.
And when I find out who did it, I'll horsewhip him. Yes, I will.
Would you mind paying a little attention to your son, madam? He has hurt his ankle.
Can't you work?
Mother, how can I?
What a cruel boy. So, I shall have to go back to my solo act, or Beaconsfield and I will end up in a workhouse. Who's got a cruel son, then?
Miss Ellen, would you oblige us by asking the stage doorman to hail a cab for Albert?
Yes, of course. If we can arrange a chaperone, I'll visit you at your lodgings.
I don't deserve such kindness.
If you get yourself changed, Albert, the constable and I'll help you back to your lodgings.
But if a crime has been committed, you cannot leave the scene.
Why not?
Why not? There are suspects to be interviewed.
Well, you're a detective, aren't you?
Yes, well...
Well, then you interview them.
Well, yes.
Oh, and I'll leave our four-legged friend in your good care.
We may need him later.
Why?
Why?
Evidence. More damn blue bottles on the music halls than there are in the Metropolitan Force. It was no practical joke, Albert. Do you have any enemies?
No.
What about Miss Ellen Blake?
Ellen, an enemy?
I was thinking of other admirers. She must have other admirers.
Well, yes, she does, but she pays them no attention. If I weren't so poor, we'd get married tomorrow.
Well, we seem to have eliminated everybody except your mother, Albert. And although I can see her shutting you up, I can't see her shutting up Beaconsfield.
Here we are.
I'll give you a hand up to your room, then.
No, don't do that.
Why not?
My landlady. If she finds out I'm not able to work, she won't let me stay. Thank you for your kindness. Goodbye.
Right, you take first watch.
What you?
Albert, all the performers who've had an accident so far have disappeared.
Oh, they've probably moved on to new lodgings, new town, Sarge.
Possibly, but I keep remembering those three words ringed in black ink on that theatre bill. Sensational, tragedy, tonight. And in my book, Thackeray, the night doesn't end until the morning.
ear off. I say clear off.
Get off. At ease, Constable. Only me.
This is where they bought Albert, Sarge. No sign of the Major, thank the Lord. I told him to leave it to us, or words to that effect. If he'd pulled me off that four-wheeler, I'd have lost Albert.
Private detectives. Police. Kindly inform whoever is in charge.
Unless, of course, he meant to pull me off.
Can you hear anything?
Sounds like singing. Hymns, I expect. 'Tis Sunday.
Tommy, make room for your uncle. Ain't in my hymn book.
Mistress says, come in. Them two coppers.
Most of us are at Phil Beach House. My name is Body, Mrs. Body. What is yours?
Cribb, ma'am. Sergeant Cribb and Constable Thackeray, checking for missing persons. You have theatricals staying here?
This is a home for destitute music hall performers. I am the housekeeper. Do sit down.
Thank you, ma'am. Wonder if you'd oblige me by telling me
The Ballad of Sam Hall.
Pardon?
You are sitting in the very chair that W.G. Ross sat in when he sang the Ballad of Sam Hall.
The condemned sweep.
Oh, he remembers. Oh, you must be a connoisseur of the variety stage. Excuse me. They had no idea that their little rehearsal was disturbing us.
What are they rehearsing for, ma'am?
For their return to the footlights.
Oh, where?
You know, Mr. Cribb, you remind me so strikingly of Mr. Body, my late husband, except that he wore spectacles. He lost them in Hyde Park and drowned in the Serpentine. Please, how can I help you?
By telling me if these people happen to be guests of yours.
Why, yes, they all are.
All of them?
Why, you even have Albert, the strong man, and he only arrived this morning.
Who was it who brought him here, ma'am?
George and Bertie Smee, the undertakers, one of the most whimsical comic turns in London. Until their accident. It was they who persuaded Albert to come here to convalesce. His mother's due tomorrow. Oh, I shall have to get a kennel. Oh, not for her, for the bulldog.
I'd like to have a word with those guests, if I may, ma'am.
Not during rehearsals, Mr. Cribb. One of the rules of Phil Beach House.
I do apologise.
It's quite all right, Albert. The rehearsal room is through there.
Thank you.
Everything in order, Albert?
Yes, thank you. Everyone has been so kind.
Tell me, Mrs. Body, who is paying for all this?
The owner. Our beloved patron, Sir Douglas Butterley.
The gin millionaire.
Oh, you're so very knowledgeable, Mr. Cribb. No wonder you remind me of my late husband.
Sir Douglas must love the theatre, Mrs. Body.
Oh, he does. He still owns a music hall.
Oh? Which hall is that, ma'am?
You know, we shouldn't be sitting down here. We should be sitting in the box.
Sitting in the box?
I should be entertaining you in my box. You must see my box. So very intimate.
Where is this box, ma'am?
My boudoir.
Perhaps another time, ma'am.
You haven't finished questioning me.
For the present, ma'am, duty calls. Thank you. Ma'am? Good day, ma'am.
So like Mr. Body.
Right. Once more, then.
Mr. Thackeray, 1 minute artists will never work again. The next minute they're rehearsing a show. Now, why? Why didn't Mrs. Body want me to speak to them? And why didn't she tell me that Sir Douglas owns the Paragon here?
Why are we bothering now that we know that no one's missing and no one's been really hurt?
Kindly replace your eyeballs in their sockets and tell me what you're doing in my hall.
Ah, you must be Mr. Plunkett, the manager.
Never mind who I am. What are you doing here?
Tickets, sir. We'd like to purchase a couple of tickets.
Then why didn't you go to the ticket office? Rehearsals are over. Report tomorrow 6 sharp.
Right, 6 o'clock tomorrow, sharp. Don't forget. Right, drop it in, George.
Well,
Well, I've always found that a personal approach to the manager is to be recommended.
why?
Well, we wouldn't like to see less than the best you can offer. For example, you have a show tomorrow night.
Where did you hear that? Who told you that?
Well, you did. You just told the dancers to report at 6.
Oh, the 7:30 show, of course. Yes, it's very good. See my daughter in the box office. She'll give you the tickets.
Mighty civil of you, sir. Much obliged.
Come in.
Good morning. My friend and I would... I've seen you before, miss. Miss Ellen Blake, the Grampian Theatre.
Sorry, you have the advantage. Oh, why, yes, of course. Albert's gallant rescuers. What are you doing at the Paragon?
Looking for Mr. Plunkett's daughter.
Why?
We'd like to purchase a couple of tickets for tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
The 7:30 show?
Ah.
May I ask, miss, what are you doing here?
Samuel Plunkett is my father. You were looking for me.
You, miss?
Ellen Blake is my stage name. I wouldn't get many billings as Ellen Plunkett. Where would you like to be?
Oh, I think the promenade. Have you heard from Albert since he moved into his new lodgings?
New lodgings?
Phil Beach House. It's a home for music hall performers who... Oh, good Lord. Thackeray handkerchief.
Thank you.
Is anything wrong, miss?
You told me nothing of this. Nothing.
Well, you'll be able to visit Albert at Phil Beach House, won't you?
Yes. Come in. What is it?
Special delivery, Miss Plunkett. Shall we bring it in?
Oh, no. Excuse me, please.
Sergeant, they were the ones that collected Albert.
Were they, by George? Now, there's another mystery to ponder on. Why didn't you want us to see the basket?
What basket?
Beaconsfield, the Bulldogs.
Disappointing show, innit, Sarge?
Music hall's more than a list of performers, Thackeray. It's everything around you.
How about a drink then, darling, eh?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Ah, Miss Blake. I expected to see you come on behind the footlights.
I never sing here.
Not your class of musical.
How about a glass of neat gin, darling?
May you perish in hell, darling. Need any help, dear?
Look at the so-called fallen women promenading here, Mr. Cribb. I despise them for their fashionable gowns, exotic perfumes, and gorgeous jewels. Then, give a moment's thought to those girls on the stage.
I already have, miss.
Price of a virtuous woman is above real business.
You haven't seen them after the show, slinking back to their lodgings in rags. Decent, clean-living girls. Try telling them that virtue is rewarded when they stand shivering on the streets and watch the Jezebels in all their finery being handed into carriages.
Well, if it's any consolation, miss, there aren't many of your promenaders that'll escape the poorhouse or the river. A few good years and they're on the way down. From the promenade here to the Threepenny Gallery at the Grampian.
Excuse me, I have to be on at the Grampian in under half an hour.
That's all right, miss. We'll just stand here and enjoy the show.
Good night.
Might I pass a message on to Albert for you?
Albert? He's not here. He can't be. His ankle was so badly...
No, you misunderstood me, miss. It's just that it's possible we may pay another visit to Third Beach House.
Third Beach House? Oh, of course. Yes, kindly give him my best regards.
We'll do that, miss.
Thank you.
How long do we have to stick this out for, Sarge?
Had enough, have you, Constable? Well, let's take a peek behind the scenes, shall we?
Oh, Sam Pagan's basket, Sarge.
And Bellotti's barrels. More properties from Phil Beach House. Carpenter's shop. Good. Shouldn't be disturbed here.
Why? What are we going to do then, Sarge?
Wait until the show's over. Make yourself comfortable, Thackeray. And do be careful. Carpenters are uncommon careless where they leave their chisels.
Oh, more mysteries then, Sarge?
You're yawning a lot, Thackeray.
Yeah, it's the dark.
The beer, more like. Stretch yourself out and sleep it off for a while.
I'm not tired.
That's an order. I want you sober.
Yes, Sarge. Anything you say, Sarge.
You're in better shape now, I hope?
Sharp as a winkle pin, Sarge. Oh, what's the time?
Nearly midnight. The secret show's about to begin. Take off your jacket. And your trousers. If you have to go on stage, try not to show your face.
Would you, dressed like this? I can't do it, Sarge.
Nonsense. You'll be no different from the rest of the scene removers. Carry out any order that's given you. Oh, and Thackeray.
Yes, sir.
I feel obliged to warn you, there could be random goings-on tonight. Do apologize, sir. Sorry, sir. Your Grace.
Confound it, sir. Sit down.
Certainly, General, certainly.
Tie that off.
Having trouble, are we, love? Here, give me the throw line.
There, you can step away now. That is...
you've a mind to remain here, pressing yourself against me.
And so I have valued my chair ever since, like the shrine of a saint or the throne of a prince. Saint Fanny, my patroness, sweet I declare, the queen of me heart, and me cane-bottom chair.
Push that into the middle, turn it to face the audience. When the light comes on, take the cloth off.
When the candle burns low and the company's gone, in the silence of night as I sit here alone, I sit here alone, but we yet are a pair. My Fanny I see, in me cane-bottom chair.
Excuse me, miss. Who's that act?
Professor Virgo.
Who are you?
Lola.
What do you do?
What you ought to do, Ducky? Disappear.
Magic liquid. Abracadaver.
Step aside, please, Mr. Plunkett, police officers.
Police officers? Aren't you the two I found skulking?
I ask you once more to step aside, if you please. Thank you. What's that?
The tumbler containing the magical fluid. First interval, damn it, I should be mingling. It's only water with a little cochineal.
It'll have to be analysed.
Why?
I'm no scientist, Mr. Plunkett, but when I see a healthy young woman die in a matter of seconds and I can see no sign of a bullet hole, I think of poisons. When I see the centres of the pupils dilated and the cheeks a bluish colour, and I sniff something that's sickly sweet, I go through the list of symptoms I keep up my sleeve and I come up with prussic acid.
But if you have that analysed, it'll immediately become a police matter.
It's already a police matter, sir.
Yes, but surely you and I can handle things discreetly between us, damn it.
If you're suggesting what I think you're suggesting, I must warn you that it's a criminal offence. And I've serious doubts about the disgraceful behaviour going on behind the footlights.
Oh, come now. This is a private performance before a very distinguished audience. There's nothing in my shows that you can't see in other halls.
Grant you that, sir. Such performances can sometimes be seen in penny gaffs in the back streets of Cairo, but I'm not here to reminisce. Thackeray, start by questioning Professor Virgo.
Kindly tell me your name, sir.
Cribb, sir. Sergeant.
And your superior, who I assume gave you permission to investigate my hall.
Inspector Jowett, sir, Scotland Yard.
Thank you.
You may have some of the magical fluid left. Confiscate it. Oh, and Thackeray.
Yes, Sarge.
Put your jacket and trousers on. You look ridiculous.
Are you seriously suggesting, Sergeant, that Mr. Plunkett himself arranged all these ridiculous accidents in order to turn the performers into laughingstocks and then had them taken to Phil Beach House so they could be rehearsed for the midnight show at the Paragon?
6 of them were there last night, sir, including the late Miss Lola Pincus.
And was her death yet another accident?
Emphatically not, sir. She died of prussic acid poisoning.
Ah, suicide. You'd better establish where she purchased the means for her self-destruction. But there is a more delicate matter. You implied yourself that the patrons were people eminent in society, swells in your vocabulary.
The promenade was like Rotten Row at the height of the season, sir.
Then perhaps you can explain how 2 common members of the police force gained admission. There was nothing of a criminal nature going on.
Young ladies being transported across the stage with nothing more on them than a ray of limelight.
I didn't know you were such a prude, Sergeant. Far be it from me to condone such exhibitions. But, heavens, man, there are worse sights in London than a few fillies in fleshings.
Begging your pardon, sir, it was an indecent show. I've never seen more of them in my life. Wherever I...
Gentlemen, Somehow you engineered admission to an entertainment designed for people accustomed to take their pleasures in private. Men of your limited background can be forgiven for supposing that what you saw might have had a tendency to corrupt. But you are in no position to judge. These people live on a different plane from you.
Above the law, sir?
No, of course not. But if there's one thing one learns from a decent education, it is the importance of discretion. Discretion in everything. I hope I make myself clear.
Oh, rest assured, sir, we shall be discretion itself when we return to the Paragon.
Return there? That's out of the question.
Location of death, sir.
Good heavens, man. Mr. Plunkett has a reputation to keep up. He doesn't want detectives blundering about his stage.
Blundering ain't an accurate description of the way Constable Thackeray conducted himself last night. His was immaculate detective work, deserving of the highest commendation, and that will be in my report, sir.
I look forward to reading it. Good day, Sergeant.
That was handsome of you, Sarge.
What was?
Speaking up for me like that. Immaculate detective work. Well, I never looked upon it as that special myself.
Nor me. But an officer's got the right to look to his superiors for support, not for insults.
Sarge, do you think it was suicide?
No.
Well, the inspector thought it was.
You'd better go on thinking that. We've stirred up a hornet's nest, and there's some pretty big specimens in it. Peers of the realm, members of Parliament. I even saw 2 gentlemen from the director's office here at the yard. No wonder Jowett was told to tread on us. Wouldn't do much good to his career if their names became known, and you and I would find ourselves back on the beat.
Makes you feel completely impotent, Sarge.
Hadn't affected me quite as bad as that, Constable.
Where are you going?
To take up Mrs. Boddy's offer to inspect her little box.
On your own? It should compromise you, Sarge. It's moral suicide. The Yard hasn't the right to expect that of you. Jowett wouldn't go.
He hasn't been invited. Might I address you on a personal matter, ma'am?
My pleasure, Mr. Cribb.
In his statement to the police, Mr. Plunkett mentioned a connection with you.
It's outrageous. My reputation is beyond reproach.
You don't frequent the Paragon?
My duties keep me here, Mr. Cribb.
And your guests?
They perform there once a week at the midnight show. Otherwise, they have all agreed not to step outside these walls. They are here because they are unemployable. They would starve if they left. What do you think of my little snuggery? It came from the Alhambra.
Takes my breath away.
Not for long, I hope.
Tell me, Mrs. Boddy, what sort of a girl was Lola?
All men were like curtain calls to her, every one a fresh delight. Oh, the jealousy among the men.
Did she show any interest in Albert?
She didn't stay alive long enough. Will you be going to the next midnight performance?
Duty prevents, ma'am.
A most distinguished patron will be among the audience.
Good Lord. Not the principal.
Suffice to say, it will be a command performance. Now, how would you like to give me a command performance?
Miss Ellen Blake, Sarge.
What?
She called here yesterday to visit Albert and hasn't been heard of since.
Devil she hasn't. Downstairs as quick as you can. Search all the rooms.
More gin. In fact, you can send out the bottle.
And I've reason to believe she may be in some danger. Now, depend upon it, we shall spare no efforts in finding her. But whilst my assistant searches the house and grounds, I must insist that you all remain in the rehearsal room. That's all for the present. Thank you. Albert! When did you last see Ellen?
For a short while yesterday. My mother acted as chaperone.
You recall your conversation?
Yes, we talked of my injury. I told her that I hoped to be fit for the next midnight performance at the Paragon. Well, that seemed to upset her. She said I shouldn't rush things, but I ought to get a doctor's opinion.
Did you part on good terms?
Yes.
Albert, I must speak to you. In private.
Is it something pertaining to your daughter's disappearance?
It's no concern of yours, sir.
This time it is. It's possible her disappearance may be closely connected with the death of Lola Pincus, and this time I don't mind if you complain to the Director of Criminal Investigations himself. Midnight peep shows may be above the law's reach, but killers of young women are not.
I received a letter by the second post.
Ah, please. Mr. Plunkett, you're going to have police help in finding your daughter whether you want it or not. The letter. Thank you. Kidnapped. My safe release rests with you. Place £500 in a leather valise, Paragon, 1:45 tonight. One single beam of limelight from the wings. Albert to place the valise centre stage, then to return to Phil Beach House. Only Albert, no one else. Any failure to mortally...
Well, what am I to do?
What were you planning to do?
Precisely what they wanted. I was hoping Albert here would agree to it.
Albert, are you game?
I'll do anything to help Ellen.
Good man. Now you try and slip out of the house without anybody noticing. Do you have this amount of money, Mr. Plunkett?
I've several £100 in the safe. After tonight's performance, I'll have enough.
Capital. I'll provide the valise and then we'll all have made a contribution. Oh, one more thing, Albert. I'd like to borrow Beaconsfield.
He's not a very good guard dog.
No, no. But he'll do for my purpose. Money in the bag, is it, sir?
Yes. I left the single limelight on in the wings. Where are the others?
Others?
With a uniform police. I thought you'd have the place surrounded.
Wouldn't be wise, sir. This perishing dog quiet. Mr. Plunkett, would you mind taking him for a walk?
Do you want me to take him for a walk?
Once round the block will do.
This is ridiculous.
Are there really no police about?
Well, there's Thackeray and me. How many more do you want? Are you still game?
I've given my word.
On your way then, lad. Use the stage door. Grab him.
Right, let's have a look then. Oh, blimey. Not you again.
What you doing here, Major?
Following a suspicious person. I saw someone leave Phil Beach House by a window and followed him. Albert is your man, Sergeant.
Except that he's assisting us.
Is he, by Jove?
You precious near sprang the trap.
Oh, dear.
Did you hear any movement in there?
No, sir, it was perfectly quiet. I had the strong impression I was not alone.
Well, I hope you weren't, otherwise we're all wasting our time.
Albert, have you left the ransom?
Yes, sir, I carried out my instructions.
Well done. Your courage will not go unrewarded.
Right, now I'll take the dog.
Ellen!
Are you quite unhurt? Are you safe?
Quite safe now, Papa dear. When they had counted the money, they escaped through the property room window into a waiting carriage.
They? Who were they, miss?
Well, I don't know. A man and a woman. They kept me in darkness all the time, blindfolding me when they wanted me to move. They gave me a light to write the letter, but that was all. Even then, they stood behind me out of sight. I was terrified.
Fire! Fire! The whole place is on fire!
Major, get the fire brigade!
Call her again! Call the fire again!
Good little Beaconsfield.
Papa, I'm sure that we'll be
Next
able...
Tuesday, I was to have been presented. It would have been the greatest moment of my life. Now I have nothing. Nothing.
It must have been the limelight, Papa. It was left unattended for so long. There must have been an explosion in the lime tank.
Nothing.
Fire Brigade's doing a valiant job, Mr. Plunkett, but I doubt if they'll save the theatre.
Where did you get hold of that?
Aniseed, miss. Aniseed is a powerful attraction to any of the canine species. I slipped some into the valise before handing it over to your father. Now, let's see what's in here. Your £500, Mr. Plunkett.
But I thought the kidnappers had taken it.
And but for the efforts of my scorched assistant here, we'd have found it difficult to prove they hadn't.
Why go to so much trouble if they're not going to take the money, for God's sake?
Oh, because they never existed. Your daughter, Miss Blake, invented them. Didn't you, miss? There's you, Mr. Plunkett, arranging accidents to keep the Paragon open, and you, Miss Blake, doing your best to close it. First by the murder of Miss Lola Pinkett.
Murder?
She thought police investigations would put a stop to the goings-on. And then by setting fire to the theatre.
Oh, this is madness, Sergeant. You've no right to make such accusations.
Father!
Why,
At least do me the kindness of letting me face what is to come with dignity. Can't you see that your greed, your obscene midnight shows brought me to this? I only hope that the flames obliterating the Paragon purify your miserable soul.
Ellen, why?
For you, my love. I couldn't bear to see you recruited to his vile entertainment. I had to stop it. I had to. Will he be permitted to visit me?
We'll arrange it, miss.
Then I'm ready to write my confession.
What makes a sweet young woman turn as vicious as that, do you think?
A strong, puritanical streak and infatuation for a young man. A powerful combination, sir.
You've done well. A first-class investigation.
Thank you, sir.
There is one thing I ought to mention, though. A case like this has ramifications. Those little entertainments at the Paragon had quite a following in certain quarters. What I'm trying to say is that you must appreciate the reason the Yard does not wish to overemphasize its part in this particular case.
We're talking about discretion again, are we, sir?
Discretion, exactly. That is why it was felt that it would be in all our interests if the gentlemen of the press were advised that the arrest of Miss Blake, and indeed the initiative throughout the entire investigation, should be credited to Major Chick.
Major Chick?
He's very well connected, late of the 8th Hussars, you know. It should help his practice immeasurably. But don't think that you've been forgotten. Good heavens, no.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
What is it, Sarge? A year's free admission to the Paragon?